Greetings family, Sister Shanice in the house. I am on the road on my way to Birmingham Airport, heading out of the UKKK. These are the freezing cold, wintry, blizzard conditions that I'm leaving behind. It has been snowing. It has been far too cold for me. I'm on my way to the airport, to Birmingham Airport, where I will be getting on a flight and heading out of the UKKK. I mean, what we've got to remember is that the Ice Age probably started with some few drops of snow, but then the snow didn't stop falling. And according to the experts, the last Ice Age began about 100,000 years ago, but lasted until about 25,000 years ago. So that's 75,000 years of being locked into mountains upon mountains of snow. So you know what? When me see the snow pile up, me say a time for me for left out, cause me no want my future generations them end up locked up in no Ice Age. And you know, so when it was their Ice Age, they were the Neanderthals in the Ice Age, and that's how they were until they were saved by the Africans who came up from Africa and unfortunately mated with them.
As you can see, I'm at the airport and on my way out from the UKKK. Again, you know, enough changes are happening as we speak. You know, new policies are being introduced on a daily basis, and wow, we don't even know soon if we're going to be able to come out of the country at all without being, you know, the big V jabbed. So, you know, leaving Britain because it is just so cold right now. Oh my gosh, and my melanin needs some topping up. I'm starting to go a little yellow. I'm a light, my brownness, my dark colour skin, you know, so we're going to get some colour. So yeah, on the way back to Mama Africa, once again going to spend about 6 months or so over there, and by the time we come back it will be summer again in the UK. And of course, while I'm on Mama Africa soil, wow, I'll be meeting the family, my friends, and all those great people that I left behind 6 months ago. Yeah. Well, I just want to tell you about the PCR testing, because before we could travel we had to do a PCR test, and it cost £69. And Errol, you did some calculations, you and Sasha were using the car. Yeah, there's like 4 appointments every 5 minutes, and you calculated that for
80 grand.
Right. So it was 40 grand per cubicle, and there's 4 of them. Yeah, so 160k per day is being made during ordinary working hours by just one of these PCR testing centres. And so, you know, with that sort of income and the amount of tax that the government's going to be getting, and when you consider the shares that a lot of these politicians have in this particular new sector, I don't see this going away anytime soon. And when we were checking in, there was a couple of young lads whose plane had got cancelled a couple of days ago, so they represented themselves today to fly, but their PCR test had run out, of course, because they'd got it done in time for the flight a few days previously, and so they weren't allowed to fly. You know, so yeah, got to make sure you got a PCR test within the time scales, otherwise they just will not allow you to fly. And they're also asking you whether or not you've had the big V. Don't know what difference it makes, because I know you still need a PCR test even though you've been vaccinated. Them not easy enough. Them not easy at all. Wow. Look at those aeroplanes in the distance there, full of snow. The airport runway. Pretty clear by the looks of it, but could well be icy. So we could be in for a wobbly takeoff.
Well, as you can see, family, we are actually up in the air now. We have taken off, and we're on our way to Paris, which is the first stop en route to Banjul. And look at the lights as we fly over the UK. Oh, wow, it sure looks pretty. This is Birmingham. Some say Birmingham, but my friends who live in Birmingham said them not eat pork, so we're not for call it Birmingham, we're for call it Birminstrong, cause be a strong people live there. Anyway, enough light there, Birminstrong. If you go London, if you fly over London, there will be even more lights looking so pretty. I wonder how much energy it actually takes to burn all those lights 24/7. Just imagine as those lights are burning, you know, there's industries that are powering all of the light and using a huge amount of energy. There's the agricultural sector, there's you know, all the different sectors that are using a huge amount of energy to keep the country going. Oh, and then they talk about climate change and too much energy warming up the atmosphere, and go to Africa and tell them, no, they can't use any energy to light up Africa. They can't be using too much energy to industrialize Africa. No, they can't be using any energy at all because of climate change. But don't tell them we're using loads of energy. Wow, family, the camera just hasn't managed to capture the beauty of this sunset as the sun is going down over the horizon, but it looks absolutely beautiful. We have a wonderful, beautiful world, we really do. And I'm just remembering, I think the best sunset that I've ever seen so far in my life is in Zimbabwe. I took a group of about 35 people to Zimbabwe. We had an amazing experience. Zimbabwe is a beautiful country, and we cruised down the Zambezi River, and while we were on the river, the sunset on the river, in the sky, the whole place just turned orange. It was absolutely beautiful, and in the distance you could see the hippos, and on the little island you could see a couple of elephants. It was beautiful, amazing. We have a beautiful world, we really do. We're over Paris at the moment. I won't be leaving outside the airport, but if I was to go, I would want to visit the Louvre Egyptian Collection Museum. It's said that the Louvre Museum in Paris has the largest collection of African Egyptian antiquities than anywhere else in the world. They have our masterpieces spanning 30 dynasties of African history. Wow, wow, wow. They've got a range of African games, sarcophaguses, they've got papyrus scrolls, they've got sculptures, steles, they've got stone statues, they've got some amazing, amazing pieces of African art and African sculpture. And in fact, so large is the collection, it's said that they have about 55,000 objects in their reserves. 55,000 pieces of African Egyptian antiquities in their reserve. France, when are you going to return it? Can you imagine the amount of capital that they're bringing in on an annual basis from tourists who are actually paying to go and look at all of our African art and sculptures? In addition to the 500 billion that the 14 African countries are having to pay France in colonial tax? My. Little France, little Paris. Boy, them can't TV. My gosh. Anyway, yes, do put that on your list of places to go. Those of you who are interested in African art, those of you who are campaigning to get our artwork back. Also in the museum, they have the Great Sphinx of Tanis. This is a huge, colossal, monumental sphinx that was dedicated to the god Amun-Ra. And the Sphinx has the body of a lion that represented the god Horus, and a human head that represented the king. And this huge Sphinx is also in the museum.
We are now in Paris airport. So give you a glimpse of what Paris is like. Okay, it's a very big airport. very, very busy indeed. I mean, the queues the other side were huge. It was so, so long. As you can see, you've got all the name brand perfume, Cartier, Dior, Chanel. I want to see some of our African brands. We've got a multiplicity of fragrances in Africa, so we need our own brands, yeah? Yeah. It's good to see our models modeling, but we should be modeling our own brands. They're all here, aren't they? The plane journey was so smooth. It was like a supersonic jet. The way it just took off, the way it just glided through the sky and then landed. You know, you could hardly feel yourself moving. It was a beautiful, beautiful journey. And if the second part of the trip, which is also via Air France, is anything to go by, I can highly recommend it as a mode of transport to Paris or to wherever you may be going, because it's clearly a very, very busy airport. So obviously, you know, they fly to destinations all around the world. And yeah, I'm going via Air France to Banjul. It's probably about 5 hours or so, just over 5 hours air flight from here to Banjul. And yeah, normally I would go, say, via Turkey or somewhere like that, and it was like a good few hours just to get to Turkey, and then, you know, even longer to get from Turkey to Banjul. And but this way is much shorter, much quicker. Leave in the morning, get there in the evening. Can't beat that really. And even though there's a few hours kind of wait in between, still get there the same day. So it's pretty good going.
Family, as you can see me there, reach the Hayard.
Okay, so we have arrived at Banjul International Airport, and we're now on Mama Africa Land. Okay, no problem. Yes.